Let's bring in senior lecturer at the Wits School of Architecture and Planning, Dr. Tsepang, Leuta, who joins us. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we're learning that there are only 4 months until the West Park Cemetery reaches full capacity. I mean, what does that tell us about the planning, the architecture of the city of Johannesburg?
Thanks for having me, Mpho, and good evening to your viewers. Well, I think it tells us a lot that, first of all, we have failed to have forward thinking in our planning, and that the city has failed to have future projections and think about what the population growth would be like in upcoming years, what environmental conditions would be like, and what the demands of the future would be like in their planning. And this we see in the current infrastructure, in the current shortages of our cemeteries. So them running out of land, I don't think it's something that they are starting to see now. I think it's something that they should have planned for many years ago. So I think it shows a lot of problems in our forward thinking and our future planning. Yeah.
What for you stands out as problematic as we assess the current situation? I mean, we're also learning that there are 3 more cemeteries which can carry for the next 30 years. What sort of innovative thinking should they be looking at this stage before, you know, we have and face the same problem again over the next couple of years?
I think the main issue as we stand is the city coming up with a blanket solution. Already they providing a solution of cremation, for instance.
Yeah.
And the question one needs to ask is, what solution is this to? Because for a simple man on the street, he doesn't understand that we actually have issues with space for burial. You know, when you drive around Gauteng, you see vast amounts of land, and people will wonder, so what does the city mean when it says that there isn't land? So it's that lack of understanding that needs to be addressed first of all. So the city needs to take, before even coming up with solutions, it needs to go out and run awareness campaigns and alert communities that we are actually faced with huge challenge of space. And the space or the land that you see might actually not be suitable for cemetery development. It might actually be space that's not owned by government. It might be land that's privately owned. And go back to the same community and ask for solutions that are context sensitive and context specific. So coming and with approaches that come from the bottom to from the top to the bottom, instead of bottom up from the community itself, that is counterproductive. The communities need to come up with their own solutions. They know what their needs are. They know what their cultural and faith beliefs, religious beliefs are, and they will come up with solutions that will address those needs. Yes. So I think that.
Yeah. So from an architectural point of view, do you think there's a better way to use the land?
I think there is. So when we're talking cemeteries, I think we have limited our thinking. First of all, we still left in times where we view cemeteries in isolation instead of thinking of them as part of the broader sustainable urban infrastructure. And by that, I mean as part of the green infrastructure, as part of climate resilient infrastructure. You know, last week we had these floods in Gauteng, and when we take cemeteries as part of the urban green infrastructure, they have such a huge role they can play in helping with flood mitigation, in helping with stormwater management. So cemeteries can actually play multifunctional roles, offer ecological services beyond that function of burial. However, there are other roles that they can play that are social, that are economic, but those ones would need voices of communities to come in and participate and give their opinions on what roles they would be comfortable with integrating within these spaces.
And do you think there's a specific reason that we would have, one cemetery like West Park full to capacity? You know, is it because people are looking at, the location? What are the factors which would influence this one filling up so quickly?
It's a lot of factors. First of all, just from the urban planning perspective, the way our cities were designed, we've inherited the apartheid special planning land use patterns. So West Park Cemetery, its location and the status it carries really has significance. So for someone who was not able to bury there when the cemetery was first developed, for them having that access now, having that reach now, it really means a lot. So everyone wants to bury there. It carries some significant status for some people, but also in terms of the accessibility, it's within reach of most people.
Yeah.
So the location part of it really speaks volumes. So there are a lot of issues. Then there's the issue around the maintenance part of it, because of where it's located, because of the status it carries. It is well kept, it is well maintained, and therefore one would want to have their loved one buried there. Having your loved one buried in a well-maintained space, when you visit that space, it's aesthetically pleasing, and it's healing for you. Unlike our cemeteries that are in the townships where there's a lot of crime, where they are unkept. So there's a lot of issues that come into play.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking to us this evening and weighing in on this conversation. Senior lecturer at the Wits School of Architecture and Planning, Dr. Tsepang Leuta, speaking to us about that problem when it comes to cemeteries filling up in the city.